Who's that coming down the track? Who's that coming down the track? And the bingo sheet is red and white. Bingo sheet is red and white. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Just look at Washington North End. Just look at Washington North End.
What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. Tonight, we are previewing the most impactful games of Week 3. Normally, you could catch us live on Millions on Thursdays. Not this week. We a little bit of a schedule change due to the interview. So we're not live tonight, but you will be able to catch us live on Sunday. In the Rock House on Tybee Island for away games starting this Saturday. But if you can't make it to any of those, we're always on audio through the Fans First Sports Network. And then for a quick hitter, I'm on Rock 106.1 at 6:15 p.m. on Fridays. So tomorrow is when I will be on. But how you been? What are you drinking?
I have been pretty good. Pretty busy week for me, but I never really mind that when things are going well. I am being Kurt Angle, as Mike would tell me, and I'm drinking a big old glass of milk for two reasons.
All right, Jim Harbaugh, calm down.
Yep. One is because we just got cookies out of the oven right before I came in here.
Okay, fair.
And the other one is because for some reason my brain has decided throughout the day to make me drunk without a sip of alcohol as it is.
That's true.
And I don't want to, you've seen the group chat, so so I don't want to make that any worse than it already is. How are you?
Good, man. I'm excited. The t-shirts are supposed to be ready tomorrow afternoon. I'm doing the radio, and just we don't do the radio thing live. So I'll be going there late tomorrow morning, going to play around disc golf, grab lunch with my friend, go pick up the t-shirts, come back to the house. It should be a good day.
That sounds like a great day.
And yeah, I'm pretty excited. We have two good football games. One is about to kick off with Thursday Night Football. And then Wake Forest is about to beat NC State. Big
What?
question mark. Wake Forest took the opening kickoff to the house and then scored another one. And now they're reviewing if NC State got a first down. And if not, it'll be like 4th and 12.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah, so real interesting here. Boy,
that is a fascinating one. I might need to find that one and pull it up.
Yeah, I will say the worst thing about the NFL being so greedy that you have to have 12 different streaming services to watch football now.
Correct.
Is that I've got Prime on the TV, but I got the college game on my phone because if Thursday Night Football was on regular TV, I could just like YouTube TV multi-view it, but I can't now. So
yeah. And real quick, just so everyone is aware, we know that there is another allegedly marquee matchup going on this week that we're not talking about, that some people think is probably the second biggest one of the week. We don't think it's the second biggest one of the week because we think these two teams are just going to disappoint anyway. So you'll know which one. It just doesn't matter that much to us, not as much as these other ones.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Certain game happening in South Bend.
Oh, yeah. I don't. If you want to see some 1930s football, tune into that game where they haven't discovered the forward pass yet. Like, oh, okay. Either Notre Dame's season is over, or Texas A&M's going 8-4. It's like
those are the stakes.
Yeah. Like, okay. Is it interesting if you're a Notre Dame fan? Sure. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you're probably not listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
So, all right, a game that should be interesting. Emphasis on should be, and I understand off the top these lines are probably not accurate because I changed them yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon, and then this morning and this afternoon, and they're changing almost by the hour. So when I updated these lines at 5 o'clock, it probably changed. So
Fair.
at 5 o'clock, LSU was favored by 7.5 points. Over under was 47.5. And both teams struggled last week. One team just didn't lose to their group of five opponent. LSU did beat La Tech 23-7. I will say I'd be willing to bet that Austin Peay gives La Tech a hell of a game. That's beside the point. Here's the thing. Florida's offense did not really lose them that game. Could they have done more? Absolutely. In the second half, they had 7 possessions, right? Like they had the opportunity to score plenty of times.
Right.
But also, it's not that the players on offense weren't performing well because Jaden Ball had a phenomenal game. DJ Lagway wasn't bad, but they weren't put in the right positions by the coaches to win that game. And then, obviously lack of discipline on the defensive side of the ball. But on the LSU side of things, I know less about them than after week one, and I knew less after week
Yeah.
one than I did before the season started.
Yeah.
I feel like LSU is a advanced calculus equation where once you get started, you just have more problems than you do answers.
Mhm.
And that's because they looked okay on both sides of the ball against Clemson, and then they looked not great on either side of the ball last week. And it's very confusing. But at this point, I'm going to proceed under the assumption that LSU's defense is improved. How much? How good are they? No idea.
Who knows?
They're better than last year. So that is the assumption we are going on. But both teams LSU has played against thus far have had terrible offensive lines. That's been the downfall of Clemson over the better part of the last decade. And Louisiana Tech is probably never going to have a better defensive line or offensive line than LSU has defensive line. Just statistically, that's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
And Florida's line may have been a little overhyped in the preseason, but they're not bad.
Mm.
And so if Florida is going to win this one, it's because Billy takes the training wheels off, or the more likely answer, DJ Lagway just completely disregards Billy Napier and his play calling and calls his own plays and takes chances. But this is a funny visual I thought about today, talking about Billy Napier taking the leash off. Imagine we've all seen 300. We're all guys. It's just a fact of life. So when the giant, like the big ugly giant in the Immortals battle, gets let out of his chains,
Yeah.
and then like mauls 5 dudes back to back, and then just gets killed in the most idiotic way possible. It's kind of what I expect from Florida.
You kind of described what Florida has been over the last decade and a half.
Yeah. I just and honestly, the entire reason that I am not confident in this Florida team doing anything is Billy Napier.
Yeah.
100%. But the rumors are coming out saying that Florida boosters once again have the money together to fire Billy, but they're waiting to see how things play out over the next month. Billy either has to go full send and let the offense loose, or resign. It's pretty much his options at this point, and he may not formally resign. But if he doesn't let the offense loose and win games, he is resignating himself to being fired.
Yeah. Yeah. He won't have a
Um,
choice in the matter if he does that. That'll be the equivalent.
Yeah, and so for this one, I do think that this game is realistically lower scoring, both teams in the high teens to mid 20s. But I think if Florida wins, it is a high scoring game. So funniest outcome possible, put it out earlier today. It's high scoring for Florida to win because that's the only way they win this game. They don't win a low scoring game at LSU. I do think LSU probably wins and covers, but if Billy wants to keep his job, he's got to let the offense play free. Um, and I do think they absolutely have the horses on offense to run this game back to the swamp. But do they have the coaches? I don't know. But funniest outcome possible: Florida wins.
Yep.
Florida beats Texas. It saves Billy's job until they get the first shutout in like 40 years in Jacksonville.
Oh,
And he's fired on the ride back to Gainesville
I'm
in the
rooting
last
for
game in
that.
Jacksonville for a couple years.
I'm rooting for that so much now. Speaking of that, really should have done a home and home. Like I get we don't want to go to the swamp, but come on now.
I think
Like,
I think this is one of those where it's such a heated rivalry that they knew if if they put Georgia fans with the ability to go watch Georgia play in Gainesville, like, there would be violence.
that's probably accurate. Oh, but yeah, I'm really curious to see what the LSU offense actually is. Like the last few years in this game, LSU's really been running up the score. But they definitely haven't been doing that for the first 2 weeks of this season. Their performance against Clemson now even isn't quite as impressive after Troy jumped on them last week. So if LSU isn't what we thought they were, which I do have my doubts, and Florida comes out pissed off and ready to play for their coach, then Florida might win this game and we'll be scratching our heads wondering what the hell's going on this season. I don't see that happening. LSU does look ugly, but I think they still somehow win by 2 scores after a Florida wide receiver nukes his team's comeback chances by body slamming an LSU DB after the whistle.
That is entirely probable based on
Yeah.
Florida's track record there.
Yep.
So Mike goes, my biggest question is, after the loss against USF, does Florida care? Do the players care? Do the coaches care? Because that was not supposed to be a loss for Florida. Former players came out and pissed all over Billy's grave, including players that he coached at Florida.
Yeah.
What is LSU? Clemson might actually suck. So was their week one win as good as we initially thought? Mike goes, this game might be going away as an annual rivalry, so I expect LSU to end this on a high note and beat Florida by double digits.
Again,
Sadly,
as a person who doesn't like Florida, even though that's not the funniest outcome, I wouldn't hate that either.
no. Um, but man, just getting one last pimp slap on Billy before he gets sent off to be like a defensive analyst at Maryland or something, or an offensive analyst at Maryland. Like, that would be nice.
Right. Hang on, I forgot I did need to go in and correct people's spelling in this outline.
You did. So here's the issue with me doing it is that when I type that, my phone auto corrects and I think
Fair.
faster than I type.
I mean,
So
I didn't put it in mine either. So we
if
just,
I try to go back and fix all those, we will never get through one game.
fair enough.
All right. Speaking of USF, going down to Miami Gardens because
Yeah,
this is
South
not
Florida travels
in
to
Miami.
South Florida.
Yeah, South Florida travels to real South Florida, but not actually Miami to play this game. It's, geography is very difficult for Florida, even though it's a
I mean, it's
Florida.
difficult in general these days. California's on the Atlantic coast.
It's the All Coast Conference. It's fine. All right, so Miami is favored by 17.5, over under 57. And I believe that we still know nothing about Miami. And I truly mean that because Notre Dame came into that game with a worse game plan than Bobo going into the Sugar Bowl. And last week, they played Bethune-Cookman, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. So I'm assuming that most people that listen to us don't necessarily follow the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats all that closely. And there's a good reason.
I'm actually the premier expert on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats.
Yeah, they went 2-10 in the FCS last year.
They sure did.
That's awful.
It's about as impressive as beating Long Island.
Fair. So what do we know about Miami? We know that Carson Beck is their quarterback, and I know Kelsey is pissed she dropped this NC State tight end yesterday. He just got a touchdown.
Oh, did she?
Um,
Because I had him last year and he did good things for me. I wanted him. I might pick
where
him
he,
up.
he had 0 points through 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucked. Um, but yeah, so we know that Miami has Carson Beck as their quarterback. And if you ask Georgia fans, he gets antsy and makes mistakes and terrible decisions once he's pressured. And if you ask a media member like Bud Elliott or Josh Pate, he's God's gift to football.
Yep.
Either way, we saw, especially against the Notre Dame game, wide open wide receiver, and he throws it 4 yards over his head, and he just had a wide receiver that could catch it for that touchdown. But he is not the most accurate quarterback in the world, specifically under pressure. Now, Miami was susceptible to the play action pass, and especially tight end focus schemes when it came to Notre Dame. Late in the game, their offensive game plan was Raritan at tight end, Jeremiah Love jumping over people, and the Michigan legacy guy that grew up in Ann Arbor and didn't even get offered by Michigan running the football as a pocket passer. So, meanwhile, the entire country knows more about USF than any year since 2007.
Yep.
Byron Brown has played a hell of a year so far, 473 passing yards, 109 rushing yards, after playing back-to-back ranked teams. Now, did both of those teams become unranked after USF beat them? Yes. But are Boise State and Florida still extremely talented teams? Yes. So, USF running back Alvin Brown is averaging 11 yards a carry so far into the season.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he didn't play most of the Boise State game, but going against an SEC defense, 11 yards carry is quite literally insane.
Yeah, that's
Um,
Ashton Jeanty levels of oh my gosh.
yes, and on defense, USF is getting sacks, defending passes, forcing and recovering fumbles. Their linebackers are all over the place. Their kicker is 5 for 5 on the season. Grammatico, I think was his name. Just a fun one to say. But Miami is more talented overall. They're bigger, they're faster, they're more physical. So I think Miami wins this one. But I think USF keeps it close.
Mm.
17.5 points is a lot.
Yeah.
And then Mike says, I want the funniest outcome possible in USF to win the Florida State Championship by beating both Florida and Miami. However, I think Miami is somehow competent on both sides of the ball compared to Florida. Whoever wins will have the best resume through 3 weeks in the nation. Winner is also the real South Florida. I should have thought of that as the geography expert.
Yep.
But he does think that Carson is going to carve up USF secondary enough to cover the spread.
Yeah, this is, as has been mentioned a couple of times already, another funniest outcome possible type game. But in all honesty, if USF covers in this game, not even wins, just covers, like they've got to be looked at as a lock for the playoff, right? As long as they handle business in the
Yeah, they've
conference.
got to handle business, and the last few seasons when they've played Bama, like they've taken Bama down to the wire,
Yeah.
and then lost to a team in their conference that didn't even make the playoff or didn't even make a bowl game.
Yeah. And
So they've
so,
struggled at times like that.
yeah, you got to keep that in mind. But if they can, like an 11-1 USF with wins over Boise and Florida and a loss to Miami that was close versus an undefeated UNLV team whose only really decent win is the same Boise State team, you know,
Wait,
the
you don't think Nico at UCLA is a good win? What about
Oh
Idaho
yeah, it's a
State?
Power 4 TA. Oh
Idaho
yeah, that
State?
Idaho State. Yeah, it took them to the wire. That was very impressive. They came on top in that one. But yeah, I do think if USF does this and if they make the playoff, I think it'll be another Boise State situation where we look at the Group of Five representative and we say, man, that team really deserves to be there. It's not just a charity case, which vindicates to me the idea of a Group of Five team being in there every year. If the first 2 years it's done, people keep saying like, oh, we don't need a charity case in there, somebody just to make the playoff just because they won their conference. If this happens, you can't really argue either team that's done it so far is the charity case. It's made sense for those teams to be there. I don't see USF winning this game outright. In fact, I personally, as much as I want them to cover, I don't think they do. Just because I think eventually they're going to get hung over, and even though it'd be very funny, we'll see. Now, if they don't get hung over, give Byron Brown the Heisman right now. But
So I will say, here's the biggest reason that I think that USF's going to cover this game, because specifically their run game is going to be enough to slow the game down. And if they can turn those long, time consuming drives into points, Miami's going to force plays down the field to score quickly. And we know what happens when Carson forces anything.
that's fair.
So it may be one of those where it is literally a 17-point game and they cover by the hook. But I just think based on the two different playing styles and knowing who Carson is, I think USF's got it. Also, before we move on, we just had a 42-yard thick six in this Wake Forest NC State game
Love a thick six.
by a guy named Isaiah Shirley. And wearing 88, just like Jalen did in college. Great.
Yeah, love it.
He broke a tackle too.
Man, Shirley, that guy is a dude. He is, and you can call him Shirley because that's his name.
Well, I was gonna give him a little bit more props. Robbie Ashford was the quarterback that threw it, and the tackle that he broke was also Robbie Ashford.
So maybe not super impressive, but,
hey,
but we love a thick six on the Nothing Finer podcast. We were robbed of one a couple years ago.
All right, so next game we're talking about Vandy at South Carolina. Speaking of special teams, for the first time this season, we're talking about teams that have had a common opponent. Both these teams have played Virginia Tech. South Carolina played them in the Bins at a neutral site that their fans had a majority of the seats. And Vandy went to Lane Stadium. South Carolina is once again struggling to protect quarterback and open lanes for their running backs that killed them last season and so far hasn't hurt them this year, but it is the reason for the slow starts.
Yeah.
And now Lenore Sellers has been playing Superman for most of the last two seasons, and the issue is that it caught up with him with injuries at multiple points last year. I hope it doesn't happen this season, but I do expect it to, because the floor of the SEC is higher than it was last year.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Vandy has gotten better offensively. Diego has a 74.4% completion percentage with 468 passing yards. That's good for 10.9 yards per attempt. Not to mention, Vandy has three guys currently over 100 yards rushing, and their top rusher is not Diego Pavia, which is good for his long-term health and the way he plays football.
Yeah.
Vandy is getting after the quarterback, forcing fumbles, and averaging 7.5 tackles for loss per game, which, given South Carolina's offensive line struggles, it's not good.
Yeah.
And on top of that, South Carolina has only scored points on offense after special teams touchdowns each of the first 2 weeks. I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen against Vanderbilt. So
yeah, they'll be ready for it.
Yeah, counting on the jump start is not going to be the way to go. I think the only way South Carolina wins this is for Lenore Sellers to be Superman again. And his line has to step up and do something other than be kryptonite.
Yeah.
I don't think they can do that. I do think Diego gets his first ranked away win behind a defensive line performance that has Vandy fans talking to their kids about it in 20 years.
Love it. Yeah, Mike agrees. He thinks Vandy wins, basically based on the head-to-head comparison with Virginia Tech.
Which we didn't talk about last week, or I don't remember talking about it.
I don't think we did, yeah.
Vandy was down 20-10 at halftime, scored 34 straight unanswered points to run away with it.
Yeah.
Like that. People don't do that at Lane Stadium.
Yeah, so Going into the We Beat Virginia Tech Bowl, that they're definitely riding high with that advantage. And yeah, like it's been talked, I haven't been particularly impressed with the South Carolina offense. It's the same thing it always is with these great quarterbacks on subpar teams. Like you said, there's only so much one player can do when no one on his team is protecting him. They do have a couple of stars at South Carolina, but they are downright average at best everywhere else. So you got to ask, what's the actual difference between Vanderbilt and South Carolina? They played very similar games against Virginia Tech, but Vanderbilt actually got an offense going. Offense has kind of struggled for Carolina all year. Sellers has been struggling because he doesn't have any help. Diego Pavia, meanwhile, is the highest graded quarterback in the country right now. The only thing South Carolina has the advantage in my opinion, is the fact that this game is at Willie B. And that is an advantage.
And it's a night game at Willie B.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big deal. Sandstorm's going to be going crazy. I just don't think that by itself is going to be enough to make up for South Carolina's complete inability to get an offense going. I mean, they relied on way too many special teams and defensive touchdowns in that game against South Carolina State that last week. Their offense scored, I think, 17 points when you just take the offense into account.
Right.
So give me the doors. I can't believe we all agree on that, but look at that.
Man, it is wild what the New Mexico State transition has done.
For real.
And it's literally Clark Lee said, hey, New Mexico State beat Auburn in Auburn. That's not something my team could do right now. So we're just going to take every single one of their players and coaches that'll come to Nashville.
Yeah, and it has worked out pretty well for them.
Yes, it has. Oof. All right. The game y'all are here for. And just for y'all's information, inside the park baseball, we are recording this before the interview, but the interview is going to come out first. So at the end of the interview, we're going to clean up a little bit like we always do. And things may change. I don't see them changing a ton.
Yeah.
But our opinion may change. But Georgia going to Knoxville, 3.5-point favorite, over under 50.5. Health is already a huge factor in this game for both teams. But the first 2 weeks of the season have not been kind. Georgia will be without tight end Ethan Barber, who's played a significant role in blocking so far this season. And Juan Gaston is questionable. Tennessee will be without corners Jermod McCoy and Ricky Gibson. Also, potentially without a starting tackle, David Sanders Jr., and starting defensive lineman Jackson Moy. Two other defensive linemen are on the availability report but neither of them are starters. One questionable, one out definitively. So depth on their front defensively will be huge.
Yeah.
And they're already without their top two corners. Their nickel, their star, whatever you call him, is the only starting cornerback that from the beginning of the season that will be playing in this game. And without those two corners, they're going to need the ability to stop the run and rush the passer. Without defensive line depth, they may be able to do that early. The ability to do that late is a massive question.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest here. Tennessee's best bet in this one is having Joey Aguilar take over. Here's the issue. He is without a tackle and backup running back right now. The team doesn't have a Dylan Sampson this year.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that Joey Aguilar did better than anybody else in the country in 2020?
Oh, me. I know.
What is it?
Threw the ball directly into the hands of someone wearing a different jersey.
Bingo. That is what he led the country in last season. And so here's another fun fact. He will not have the rushing lanes that he had against Syracuse or East Tennessee State when he plays this Georgia defense. He won't just be able to say, nobody's open, I'm going to run for 20 yards. It's not very likely. He also won't have the wide open throwing windows he has had so far this season when he plays the secondary. Especially if he tries to go to Ellis Island. Not going to happen.
Yep.
So, what he will have, C.J. Allen, Braylon Wilson, Chris Cole, Justin Williams, and the rest of the front seven, chase him around the backfield all day until the point that he chooses to throw the ball to one of our guys. And at the end of the day, you can give them their depth back. You can make sure that Joey Aguilar doesn't make dumb mistakes. You can give them more depth on the defensive line. But you know what you cannot do to this Tennessee team?
You can't stop them from Josh Heupel coaching them.
You can't give them another head coach. And this is still a Josh Heupel coached Tennessee team playing a Kirby Smart coached Georgia team. And to me, it really does come down to something as simple as that. Because
sometimes football's simple like that.
The best Tennessee team of this century couldn't beat Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly after that, 75-yard rushing touchdown, first play of the game. Scored 3 more points in the next 59 minutes. Like there truly seems to be not much that this Tennessee team can do to beat Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
And I love it. I do.
Yeah.
Especially
it's nice to be on the other end of that after the Saban years.
And Tennessee fans, every single year, think that this is their year. Last year we heard about how Nico was going to carve us up because our secondary wasn't good and we allowed a ton of rushing yards.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You guys got like 130 rushing yards, still lost.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because let's talk about that real quick. Because right now, like you said, Tennessee fans are riding high. Everybody's praising this offense and Joey Aguilar and what they've been able to do to these nobodies so far. And so I just want to remind everybody that we've seen this movie before. And I posted about this on Dawgs Sports Memes too, but I'll just say it again. Last season, before that game against Georgia, where they only scored 17 points, they put up 69, nice, against Chattanooga. They put up 51 against NC State. They put up 71 against Kent State. Everyone thought Nico's a Heisman favorite. This is going to be the best offense ever. This might rival the LSU in 2019. Then they averaged 25 points a game in the SEC, including 17 against Georgia.
Including a blowout against Vandy.
Yeah. Well, Nico just wasn't that good. We figured out he wasn't very good, but that's not the norm. Let's talk about old Joey Milton in 2023. Averaged 46 points a game in the non-conference play, 24 against the SEC, 10 against Georgia. But we know Joe Milton wasn't the guy either. He had good measurables, but he just wasn't the guy. Okay, let's go to the guy who was the guy, in the opinion of Tennessee fans, Hendon Hooker, who is inarguably the best Tennessee quarterback in over a decade.
I think you could easily make an argument that collegiately, on a single season basis, he's potentially the best quarterback they've ever had.
Yeah.
A big Peyton Manning respecter. I would still, on a college single season basis, I'd take Hendon.
Yeah. Peyton Manning still got picked off by Kirby Smart. So I take Hendon. So that year, they averaged 55 points a game against non-conference foes. Did average a better than normal 43 points a game. That's still a 12-point slide against the SEC. And then only 13, of course, against Georgia. And in case you think that an average drop-off per year of 21 points between non-conference and conference play is normal, for Georgia in 2021, the drop-off was 2 points. In 2022, the drop-off was 2 points. In 2023, the drop-off was 5 points. And admittedly, in 2024, it was 16 points, which was our worst offense in years.
But hey, that guy's the savior at Miami. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So anyway, the reason that we are so successful every year against Tennessee is a thing that has not changed as much as people say. Josh Heupel has evolved, and he has done some different things. But he still gets their offense going by stretching the field out, force teams to play light in the box, and then run it down your throat to finish the game off. And Georgia's able to disrupt the line of scrimmage and stop the run, even with a light box. They even did that last season with their softest defense in years.
Because it doesn't matter how bad the defensive line can be or the secondary at times. When you have the best linebacker group in the country year in and year out, they're going to make tackles.
Yeah. And so, yeah, while Georgia's offense looked lackluster last week, nobody's going to come on here and say it looked good. And Tennessee's has looked very flashy. I would still bet that Georgia only has to score about 18 points to win this football game, if history is anything to go by.
I would like a lot more. For
I
to be
do
clear.
I do too. I would very much like a lot more, but I think we can do it. A nice ugly 20 points. People who don't know ball, by the way, they're calling for Gunner to sit on the bench, just like they did with Stetson early on.
Now that truly does blow my mind.
Yeah, let's throw Ryan Puglisi out there for the first time in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah, I don't like. And so when you finish, I do have a couple things I forgot to write down.
Gotcha. I'll try to remind you.
I'm glad you reminded me. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but Gunner's fine. I heard someone say this week that Gunner may not be playing All-American football, but he's playing winnable football. And right now, that's enough. He may not trust himself to take the Jeep shots right now that Bobo is scheming open, which after watching the tape, he could have done a few this week. I know we don't like Mike Bobo, Georgia fans, but he got quite a few receivers open downfield on Saturday.
And it was wide open.
Wide, butt naked open. And Gunner just didn't trust himself with it yet, or was told not to throw it. I'm not sure which. I'm going to lean towards he didn't trust himself with it yet. But he's also not creating any negative plays either. 0 turnovers from the man. Really no sacks. No huge losses trying to get out of the backfield. And personally, I would rather have that right now. A guy who might leave a few yards on the field but doesn't turn the ball over and is consistently moving down the field and getting first downs for the most part. Rather than a guy who, he throws a great deep ball, but he's also going to lead the nation in interceptions. So with our run game and our defense and our track record, we don't need All-American Gunner right now. Winnable Gunner will be enough. Probably won't be enough for some of our other opponents later in the season. But so far, he's done nothing wrong that can't be coached up, in my opinion. So
I was just gonna say I agree with you.
Cool. So yeah, I hope we see something out of Gunner this week. But he's also already the kind of guy who's not going to cost us games.
Mm-hmm.
People are trying to say all Tennessee has to do is put 8 in the box and stop the run because Gunner can't throw. You know what? Fine. I invite Tennessee to try, please.
Yeah, put your 3rd and 4th best corner on islands against Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, Colby Young.
Please do. Nothing would make me happier. To be honest, too, though, the way this running back room has been playing, I'm not 100% convinced that putting 8 in the box would stop them either.
No, absolutely not.
So I think we'll be fine this week. Kirby's never lost in Neyland, not since he was playing DB and intercepting Peyton Manning. It's never been particularly close, by the way. So give me them Dogs.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so something you said made me remember what I wanted to write down earlier. What I really want to see out of the first offensive drive, and I know this isn't something we typically do a whole lot except for, against lesser opponents. But what I really, really would like to see is early on, get Gunner on a read option where he takes it, gets about 5 yards, and just takes a little baby hit. Takes a little something to wake him up. Because in that Marshall game, he was throwing dimes.
Yeah.
After he took his first little hit. And don't get me wrong, I do not want a Texas overtime level hit by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. But give me the one where he ran over a guy on the sideline and started talking trash because it fired him up.
Right.
That's what we want.
Yeah. Just, even if it's only for 3 yards and he hits something, lowers his shoulder, that's what I'm looking for. Because that gets him going.
Yeah, that's something else I wanted to talk about too. Like last week against Austin Peay, you got to keep in mind Gunner clearly was told not to play his game in terms of getting going in the run game. And he seems the type to me to be most comfortable when he can just go out there and be him.
Right.
And we've seen that he can do that.
Open. Here's 12 yards.
Yeah. And we've seen against Marshall that he is more than capable of doing that. So you get him up there, you get him playing his game, you get him comfortable, and I don't think it's going to matter that people are screaming at him from the rafters because I think once he takes that first hit, he's going to live for those reactions.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely the kind of player that he gets a rushing touchdown and just starts jawing with somebody in the front row.
Oh yeah. By the way, get him that first hit, and then give him a little flea flicker action.
Ooh,
I
ooh.
bet that would hit. You'd get his confidence up after that in his arm. Sorry, but yeah, I've had that thought all week, and it's made me happy. Bobo probably won't do it, but it would be very nice.
No, you know what? Even better, do a wildcat I formation with Gunner as the fullback. Let him just get a solid hit right off the rip, and then put him back at quarterback.
Yeah, there we go. Be an 11-yard carry, 10 yards after contact. That's that's exactly what he wants.
All right. So Mike said this is the week that we see what we all believed it was possible with the full offseason with Gunner and his weapons getting used to each other. With all the injuries to Tennessee's defense, this is Mike Bobo's statement game. No more missionary, no more vanilla. I'm talking Diddy party levels of running through boxes and
Hell
getting
yeah.
freaky.
That's what we call creativity, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike has a way with words. I'm not sure what direction that way is, but he sure has a way.
Yeah, it's a way. It may not be the right way, but it's a way for sure.
All right, we're gonna get into best bets here, and so I've got 4 this week. My first one, Clemson at Georgia Tech over 52.5.
That's
I
a good
don't.
one.
I just, man, I have confidence in Georgia Tech. I thought about taking the line, but it's small, and if Clemson actually wakes up, then there's no way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got Byron Brown, USF quarterback, 1+ touchdown at net minus 125 odds. Um, I even if USF gets blown out, he's getting one.
Oh yeah, he's got to.
And then I got Utah at Wyoming over 47. And here's the reason why. Utah's been running through some teams lately. Wyoming is still a middle of the pack group of 5 team. And Utah could put up over 47 points by themselves.
Yeah.
And then
Now you say that these road games against mid-major teams do tend to get weird though from the Power 4 teams.
at times,
But that would just add more credit to you because it would probably get weird by Wyoming scoring a bunch of points. So
that's fair. And then I've got, and this is off the wall, 100% sicko degenerate bet. Do not put money on this. But if there's one that I absolutely say is a lock, I got an alternate line on the Nevada Wolfpack hosting Middle Tennessee State.
Hmm.
I got Nevada minus 6.5. It is an alternate line of minus 167 odds, but it's minus 110 for 9.5. Feel a lot better about 6.5.
Yeah, that's fair, especially after our boy Jaden Rashada gave Nevada a little bit of a scare last week.
He did. But Austin P also beat the bejesus out of Middle Tennessee State.
Yep.
Like, Austin P had their backups in at Middle Tennessee State when Middle Tennessee scored points. It was a shutout until Austin P put their backups in. Hot take here, Austin P would not be the worst team in the Big 10, the Big 12, or the ACC.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I kind of wish this game was before the Georgia-Tennessee game.
Oh, yeah.
Because if
Nevada.
Because if Middle Tennessee State were to beat Nevada by a couple of touchdowns, it would really get people thinking about Georgia differently.
I don't think so, because most people don't think that Austin P. Most people don't know Austin P beat Middle Tennessee State in week 1.
That's true. That's fair.
And honestly,
they just see generic FCS team and think, oh, Georgia should have done better, shouldn't they?
Yes.
Which, yes, they should have, for the record, before anyone comes after me.
I would agree with that. All right. So here's Mike's best bets. He's got Tech plus 3.5. Haynes King was a full participant at practice this week and is at historic Mark Richt Field on North Avenue. All right,
Yeah.
that took me way too long to figure out what I was saying.
Capitalization, Mike.
Good point. Good point. Like I said earlier, Clemson might suck. True.
Fair.
But Haynes King is just like started for 6 years and slightly less accurate Gunner Stockton. Like he needs to get smacked around a little bit before he
Yeah.
gets going.
I will say though, Mr. Backup over there, whose name I can't remember, he got an arm. He can do some things.
Well, they got a different backup this year then. Because the last 2 years they had a guy that could not throw a forward pass.
Yeah,
Alex
last
4G level arm.
yeah, last week, who they play last week? I'm trying to remember. It was some nobody, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm sure.
But the backup quarterback who came in and played, I think, a majority of the game, he sort of lit things up. It was Gardner Webb, but Aaron Philo and
Oh, so Philo's started passing now.
yeah, Philo's absolutely
Okay.
slinging the ball around. Now again, Gardner Webb, take it with a grain of salt, but dude almost got 4 racks.
Yeah, that makes Georgia Tech more concerning for later
Yeah,
in the year.
for sure.
All right, so Mike's next one. He has Alabama minus 21.5 versus Wisconsin. Another Middle Tennessee State just getting roasted tonight. Middle Tennessee State kept it close against Wisconsin last week in Camp Randall. And Bama showed a pulse on offense regardless of who they played. Fair.
Yeah.
And Kalen DeBoer does not have the Nick Saban gene of we're going to put up enough points to get the backups in. Ty Simpson will be playing in the fourth quarter of this one regardless of score.
Oh yeah.
And then he's got Ohio State minus 29.5 versus Ohio. Matt Teams and Ryan Day will run up the score like he did against Grambling. Even if Ohio is twice as good, they still lose by 35. Fair.
Yeah.
But apparently, the last time Ohio and Ohio State played, the mascots got into an actual fist fight.
Oh, that might make this game worth watching by itself.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, it'll be on Instagram within 5 minutes of it happening if it does.
Yeah.
But still interesting.
Yeah. I just saw the next one on his list, and I'm wondering how this line is that low.
Yes. Yeah.
I might have to take that one. Might have to put a little juice on this one.
Yep. And so I'll talk about it before I say what I was going to say. All right. So he's got Gunner over 24.5 rushing yards. He's going to make plays with his legs in his first road start. I wanted to take this one. I wanted to take the Nate Frazier over on rushing yards, which is like 52. And I wanted to take Georgia minus 3.5. But I've said it a million times on this podcast. The last time I actually bet on a Georgia game, I bet the first half line against Notre Dame in 2019. And I'm pretty sure, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure they were actually losing the game.
I think they were.
Instead of being ahead by 5.
Yeah.
So
we ain't superstitious around here, but we're a little stitious. Well, okay, yeah, you are very stitious. That's true.
Yeah. So it's been legitimately since 2019 that I have put money on a Georgia game, and when I put my best bets in here, it's ones that I actually put money on. So I'm not gonna lie and say I took this Georgia line because I won't.
Mm-hmm.
I almost gave my brother-in-law money to put it on the Georgia bets just so I didn't do it. And
I don't think that would fool whatever
karma,
gambling god is out there.
Yeah, I don't think I would fool karma, but I tried. And my wife heard it and she said, "Absolutely not," because the last time you put money on Georgia, they almost lost, and I was like,
"Yeah, fair,
cool."
Well, hey, but did they lose?
They didn't.
Yeah, so.
All right, and then Mike's last one. He's got Joey Aguilar over 0.5 interceptions. Joey isn't a quarterback name. See Joey Harrington.
Yeah, why would you, as a quarterback with the name Joseph, I'm assuming he's Joseph, why would you go by Joey instead of, Joe. We got Joe Montana, Joe Burrow, all these classic Joes.
I will
Why?
say, I am a person, Joey Aguilar respecter. Um, as someone in the fire industry, he has outright said if the NFL and football doesn't work out, he's going to go be a firefighter back in California.
Okay,
Mad
respect
respect for the guy.
for sure.
But to this week he can go to hell. There's
Facts.
fire down there for him to fight,
All right, and for my best bets, I've got Arizona plus 1.5. They're at home against Kansas State. How was Kansas
I
State even
almost
favored
took
in
the
this game?
Kansas State side of this one.
Yeah, it's I mean it's one of those where again it's like Vegas has got to know something, but I don't know.
Wild.
And then this one sounds like a weird one to a lot of people. I've put this one out on social media and people are like, "You're insane." But hear me out. Temple plus 23.5 against Oklahoma. I know, but these games where Power Four teams go on the road against lesser teams get super weird.
They
See,
do.
any time a Virginia team has played Old Dominion lately, and Oklahoma is very much in a letdown spot.
They are.
So I'm
But
not
the
calling it up.
over under on this game is also real interesting. I want to
What's
say it was
that
like
one? I haven't seen.
36 and a
Oh,
half. Uh,
oh wow.
yeah, when I looked, it was really low.
Hmm.
I almost put that one in.
So I was thinking like a 30-13 type deal. Well, I don't know. That wouldn't give you 23.5 points. Who knows? Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, I'm not calling it upset in this game. I do think it's gonna get within 2 scores though, just because these games get weird. I got Ole Miss minus 7.5 against Arkansas. I think it's a get right game, and I don't think Arkansas is good. And then I've got the Florida team total under 20. And I'm doing this one primarily because Oklahoma State is off, so I can't do my Oklahoma State team total where I take their opponents over because I mean they're off this week. So sorry, Todd Grantham, I can't bet against you this week. So I'm just gonna do the rational thing and use it to hate on Florida instead. And then Colorado, I'm gonna take them plus 5.5 against Houston. I know they don't have a quarterback right now, but
No,
I'm gonna be
they're
honest. This was
starting
a
their
gut.
third string guy, who's the best passer of the group.
Yeah. So I think having seen this play out at Georgia before, where eventually the guy who nobody thought was going to do it ends up being the right fit. I feel like they've got the right fit this week. And I also just don't trust Houston to win anything.
It's fair. Um, I'll be honest, except for those last two, I am the 100% opposite of you on all those. Like all of the
That's
opposite
probably a
side
good
of those
thing. I am.
lines,
We
I
called this
almost put
segment
money
"Best
on.
Fades" when it was me last year for a reason. So that's probably the right call.
All right, guys. So we are super excited to have that watch party this weekend. If you're able to, come hang out with us, even if it's just for a half at Rock House on Saturday. Um, little inside the park baseball because y'all be hearing this approximately 24 hours before the watch party starts. We're giving away a Michelob Ultra golf bag during the watch party. Friend of mine owns a beach shop on Tybee. He's talking about bringing some stuff specifically for kids, like high-end beach toys and that sort of thing, for us to give away. We've got some T-shirts, koozies, stickers, buttons. That's probably what I will be doing all night tomorrow is making buttons to put on shirts.
Hmm.
But even if you just come out and hang out, have a couple of drinks, we appreciate it. We loved hanging out with y'all. We loved talking to everybody at the watch party last year. So come see us. It's every away game and Florida and Georgia Tech because it's technically a neutral site, but Florida's or Georgia Tech's home team. And then depending on how everything goes, we're talking about doing the SEC championship game. We're just kind of trying to go out and have fun. But the best way to keep up with that is on our social media. It's at nothing.finder.pod on Instagram, at finderpod on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Just look us up. You will find us there. And most importantly, as always, y'all remember there's nothing finer in the land.
And a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.